It's a beautiful Saturday and it's a joyful one for we managed to Palangashate the Congo Brazzaville. That's by 4 goals to 2. This is Off the Pitch, the show that comes your way every Saturday, and I'm your host Amos aka Amore, and apologies for starting the show a bit late, but all the same we are here to give you nothing but the best in terms of the happenings of the week. And welcome, Augustine, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Amos. It's always a pleasure to be here. We return all the glory and honor to the Most High God for the gift of life and good health. It's been an eventful week, and it was good to see the Copper Bullets shoot 4 past Congo Brazzaville last night, and Mr. Skombe is missing here. I think it's because of that defeat which happened at Woodland Stadium when Nkana were beaten, humiliated in front of their wives, children, and girlfriends at Woodland Stadium. That's the reason why
he's not here.
We don't have
his slot is empty.
So we wait to see how brave Mr. Skombe is if he show up to come and defend his lazy Nkana. And
the answer that he was going to give you, Augustine, was what do you expect? We are just renting. They didn't beat us at our own house. But then hopefully Angorapson will be able to join us and be able to defend himself from Augustine, because Augustine is saying from the beating that Nkana got, Angorapson hasn't showed up. But right about now, we'll just take a very short break as we come and take a look at some of the highlights that took place. That's in the last night game. That's Zambia against Congo Brazzaville. For now, let's just take a look at these highlights.
For Congo, number 3, Jean-Pierre Sevier.
My name is Christopher Katom. Continue watching Off the Pitch on Camnet TV.
There you have it. Those are the highlights of the game, or maybe those are the goals that we saw in last night's game. That's Zambia against Congo Brazzaville, where we managed to beat them by 4 goals to 2. But Augustine, we considered 2 as well. That is a sign of something which is not okay.
Yeah, I think if you look at the game overall, the performance, it was, yes, a decent performance. We managed to get a victory at home, which was always going to be very crucial. I think one thing I have noticed in African football especially is that a team which arrives on the day of the game is always very, very difficult to play against. You remember just a couple of years ago, Napsa Stars, when they hosted Goma here at the National Hero Stadium, it took a late penalty from Emmanuel Mayuka to win them that encounter and see Napsa Stars progress. So I think it's always difficult to play in these teams that will arrive on the day of the game, because basically it looks like there's a lot of disorganization, and that gets into the players' heads. And you could see the way we started, and with that early goal, we felt, okay, now this is going to be an easy ride. Yeah, I think we started very well, like a house on fire. Very, very good overloads on the left-hand side. Emmanuel Banda, Fashion Sakala, Rodri Kawe, they made it difficult for Congo Brazzaville to come out with a ball in that area, and we capitalized from that with a very, very good jump by Patson Daka. He wanted it more than the Congo Brazzaville defender. He knew that he was going to bury that, and after that, then we dropped off. Now we became too relaxed. Then we allowed Congo Brazzaville to try and grow in the game. You could see that the way they progressed the ball, especially in the positive transition, they were very, very good. They played that early ball in transition, which caught us unawares a couple of times, and they realized that our weakest link was probably the left sided of defense, where Rodri Kawe was. I feel Rodri Kawe didn't cover himself in glory on that particular evening. Benson Sakala, did he shield this back for very well? I don't think so. I think our midfield was easily swallowed in the first half. True. They were being passed around too easily in that central area. We could have done a lot better. I think what Congo Brazzaville did yesterday is that they applied the medium block in terms of instead of a high press. They knew that if they are going to press us high, we are going to probably go in behind and stretch them. So what they wanted is that they let the center backs have the ball. Immediately when our midfielders were in position, that's when they triggered the press, and they did that very well in the first half, and we found it very, very difficult to play through them, because the plan from Avram Grant was clear. We are going to progress in wide areas. That's why we wanted to get the joy, because of the pace of Lamek Banda, the pace of Fashion Sakala, and Patson Daka running in behind, always occupying the two center halves. That was our game plan, basically. Our midfield was just there to try and keep the ball moving, keep it quicker, get it into the flanks as early as possible, and allow Lamek Banda and Fashion Sakala to have 1v1 with their fullbacks and run at them, which they did very, very well yesterday. But I think the first goal was all about our positioning. We didn't position very well. We didn't defend the first phase of the play very well. When we defended the first phase, what did we do in the second phase? We didn't react. That's why they capitalized and scored that brilliant goal by Savio, who is doing very well for young boys. You could see even in the game against Man City, he was a menace. And the second goal, turnover of possession. Then we were caught unawares, because
all goals coming through the midfield.
I think the biggest problem I have with the second goal is that's when we were just starting to build up and progressing with the ball. Then we turn over possession. That was an enforced error. They win possession. We didn't have our structure. I think we have to be very cautious at that point. We cannot commit bodies forward before we even reach the halfway line with the ball. We need to try and be cautious, to try and have a shape, especially when we lose the ball. What do we do? Do we go tight? Do we drop off? We didn't know what we were going to do, and then they moved it quicker, and it caught us by surprise, and they scored the second goal. And looking at how the game panned out, I think it was very, very crucial that we equalized just right before halftime. Yeah. Because the team to exchange at that point, both teams was for Avram Grants and the Congo Brazzaville coach. If you could see what Congo Brazzaville were doing when they were in the lead, they were slowing down the game. The goalkeeper was always killing the tempo. If we could have gone into the second half down by 2 goals to 1, believe you me, Amos, today it would have been a different story, a very, very different story altogether. Because what could have caused us is that the Congo would have dropped off in the second half. That was something that they were probably planning to do. Going into the halftime in the lead, they could have dropped off, slowed the tempo of the game, and then it would have made our players to start panicking. Because you could see even the fans, they were very impatient. After we conceded the 2 goals, they started calling for substitutions.
Yeah.
Which happened. They started calling for substitutions. So if it would have been worse in the second half, it would have gotten on the players' heads, and they could have started making a lot of mistakes. But it was good that Lamek Banda, I think that was basically one of the best individual goals you see. he took his man,
and it was a risk one, huh?
Yeah, he took his
Patson
man
Daka was
on.
open. If he had missed,
yeah, I think he was
issue.
very, very brave. The fact that he knew that he had the beating of the fullback. He went like he was going outside, then he cut inside, and then at that point, I think the Congo Brazzaville goalkeeper should do a little bit better.
Yeah.
It's the near post that he has to cover, so that he makes it very, very difficult for Lamek Banda. He preferred. I think at that point you preferred him to go to the far post or play a cut back. But I think Lamek Banda scored a similar goal against AC Milan with his left foot. So he's a player who is growing and adding numbers to his game. He has always been that explosive, high tempo, exciting player to watch. Now he's getting those numbers into his game. This is his third goal for the national team, and that gives him a lot of confidence. Only 9 games for national team. It seems like he has been around for too long, but he's just a new boy on the block. So I think our front three is very, very dangerous for any defense because they've got the pace and they've got the skill. So it's to be very difficult for a lot of teams to defend against us. In the second half, we came back a better side than we
before we look at the second half, Augustine, let's just touch a bit on the disallowed goal of Fashion Sakala. Something that I felt like as the tempo of the games, or maybe the caliber of the games that we are playing, these are World Cup qualifiers, and officiators shouldn't be making such errors, because for me that was a clear goal.
Yeah, I think this where now comes the issue of probably bringing VAR into our game, because I think that was a very, very close call. Probably I will give the officials the benefit of doubt because it looked like it's going to be a 50-50 decision. It can go our way, it can go the other side, which eventually went against us. But I think Fashion Sakala did very well to combine with Patson Daka in that brilliant build-up play. You could see that the understanding between Patson and Fashion, it has really, really developed. They know each other's movement. They know when to make the pass, when to try and drop off and receive. So I think it's always interesting to have this combination in a team. And Fashion Sakala, he was probably he was our brightest player on the day. He was arguably the man of the match. Yes, Patson Daka scored the 2 goals, but I felt Fashion Sakala had the bigger influence on the game than any other player. He was involved in 3 goals, and he scored 1 of them. He had 1 assist, so you could see that he was very, very intelligent in how he approached the game. And defensively, we need to try and be better going into the other games and basically the Africa Cup of Nations. On the left side of defense, with regards with Rodrigo, he did not defend very well. He didn't know whether to go tight to his man or probably engage the winger to try and
those are schoolboys errors.
That's the
second goal we considered. Look, I felt like, why are you using your left foot?
Yeah, so I think if you look at what we have been complaining about since the time that Avram Grant came in, our biggest weaknesses was always the fullbacks. Yeah. The fullbacks were always neither here nor there, but you could see that Benedict Chepeshi is growing in his game. He's now becoming that international player we expected him to be. He's comfortable defending in 1v1 situations. He knows when he's going to tuck in with his center backs. You could see his all-round players really, really improved Benedict Chepeshi. But it's on the other side with Rodrigo. We expect Rodrigo, with the experience and the maturity that he has, to be doing a little bit better at this level. He needs to communicate with his man. If you want help from Fashion Sakala or probably the midfielders, he needs to be vocal. He is the captain of the team. He needs to be better in terms of his communication. And he's always found in no man's land. That's the biggest problem with Rodrigo. And he needs to rectify that in his personal capacity. Because at the moment, it's very, very difficult to try and look around the league and pick a left back which can go toe-to-toe with Rodrigo. Because the ones that we have are raw. We have got John Chishimba, Zesco United. It will be too quick to throw him into this deep end at this particular moment. We have got a Africa Cup which is coming up in less than 2 months. So it's going to be little time. I think I do not expect to see Abraham Grant making a lot of changes, but we just need to defend better as a team. I think in the first in the Africa Cup qualifiers, we did better in that regard. We are not a team that was going to press teams high up the field, but we had a decent structure when we were without the ball, and we could win it probably in midfield and in attack, so that we can give our defenders a little bit of rest. So, but going forward, we need to rectify how we we shuffle the back four, how we defend. Are we going to play high line? Are we going to drop off? I think this is something which Avram Grant will look to rectify going into the coming games.
And all for those who are just joining us, this is Off the Pitch here on Camnet TV, where we get to give you nothing but the best in terms of sports, and we're just looking at the game that was played yesterday. You as well at home, you can participate by calling through and giving your view and your opinion in terms of if you feel like there are changes that the coach needs to make before we go to face Niger. But just a quick one. Oh, and we also live, that's on our Facebook page, Camnet TV. You can follow us live there. But just a quick one, Augustine. Let's just take a look at the lineup that started the game. If we can just have a display of the lineup on the screen, so that maybe we just go through it quickly. So Augustine, that's the team that started, and you gave out a point where after we conceded 2 goals, the fans started calling for substitution, and mostly a lot of them wanted the goalkeeper to be substituted. Even where I was watching from, a lot of guys were like, no, the goalkeeper. But if you analyze the whole game and the goals, it was the error from the midfield. But Augustine, that's the lineup that started. Would you make any changes going into the second game?
I think looking at our starting 11, you could see that we went with Francis Mwansa in goal. It was a big call by Avram Grant to drop Rollins Mulenga at this particular moment, because Rollins played that crucial Africa qualifier against Ivory Coast and did very well. He kept a clean sheet in that encounter. You would expect that there would be continuity. I think you remember a couple of weeks ago we had the caller, I think from the Eastern Province, who asked, is it good for us to be changing goalkeepers? I think I was against this because it doesn't. Mr. Skombe says it's good for competition, but I do not think that's the position where you need competition. That's a very that's a position where you need assurance. You need someone who the back four knows. I think if you're a defender, you need to know how is your goalkeeper going to come when there's a cross. Is he going to stay in his line? You need to know who you are playing with. I think the problem is that we keep chopping and changing in that department. So the defenders do not know what to do with regards to our goalkeepers. They do not know if there's a cross, is our goalkeeper going to come? When probably there's a free kick, there are a lot of goalkeepers who say, I don't want my wall to jump when there's a free kick. Oh yeah, because they will deflect the ball and they will just want to make the save on their own. So how do we build up? Is he very comfortable in possession? You could see that in the game against the Ivory Coast, our build-up was much better because we had Rollins, who was very good in terms of his ball distribution. But yesterday, I think he didn't do a lot of wrong, the young boy, to be honest. Yeah, but he didn't look very confident for me, and it's probably something that they will work on going into the game against Niger. He's a young boy and he has got a big future ahead of him, Francis Mwansa, but I felt he didn't command this area as much as you would have loved, because this is probably the highest stage and the highest stage, and you can see that the players that we are going in like Niger, these are big players, and the physical battle, we really fancy that physical challenge to try and come out for crosses when his defenders need him to do so. I think it's going to be a very tough call for the coach going forward. We had the better second half, and that's why we didn't see our goalkeeper being in a lot of trouble. I think what happened in the second half is that our defenders now started pushing a little bit high up the field. We started squeezing the pitch for Congo Brazzaville, and they found it difficult for them to come out with the ball, which looked a little bit better on our side, and we used more both flanks, because in the first half, if you look at the game clearly, we are more focused on the left side of attack. That's where we had more of our attacks. But in the second half, at least we were unpredictable. They didn't know whether we would go right or we would go left. And we benefited from a lot of good balls into the area. I think this is the first time in a long time that I've seen perfect crosses from Zambia coming in from the wide areas, and you could see Patson Daka had about 3 or 4, 5 chances that he could have scored. But I think someone talked to me and said he needs to be more clinical in front of goal, but you need to feel for Patson Daka. He's lacking game time. He lacks that sharpness in front of goal. But the good part is that this guy works very hard, and he gets into these good areas due to hard work. He has got that sniffer's instincts. He knows where the ball will drop, and he is a clinical finisher, Patson Daka, that we know. That's why he managed to score goals, but he could have done better on a couple of occasions where he could have walked away with a match ball yesterday easily, because they created good chances for him. Lamek Banda, brilliant cross from the right.
The one he wanted to chip the ball.
I think that was smart goalkeeping. If you look at the goalkeeper, what he did is that when Patson Daka was approaching the goal, the goalkeeper started coming.
Yeah.
And immediately Patson Daka takes his eyes off the goalkeeper to concentrate on the ball. The goalkeeper stops moving. Yeah. And it makes it difficult for the striker, because now you have already made up your decision. You want to lob the goalkeeper because he thought the goalkeeper was coming, charging towards him, and probably that's the reason why he didn't finish that. But it was a good all-round play from our forward players. You could see the interchange, and probably the substitution of Cletus Chamachota. He brought life into our attack. Cletus was very, very brave, picking up the balls in tight areas. He looks to turn and run at defenders. He's looking to make that forward pass. I think he gives us a different dimension altogether. Similar to Edward Chilufya, you could see he went and hit the post.
Huh?
Yeah. So I think Edward Chilufya and Lamek Banda are similar players. It's like for like. So you know what you get when you are starting one of them and then replacing them with the other. We have got a lot of talent going forward, but it's where we need to work on is what do we do when we are out of possession. That's why we need to try and be more tight. If we're going to go for man, we need to do that very well. I think the defending in between the lines, that's where our biggest problem was, because that's where they were finding those pockets, the Congo Brazzaville team, and they worked with it very well. Scoring 2 goals away from home in Africa and coming away empty-handed, I think it's something which doesn't often happen.
True.
I think we need to try and credit our boys for being brave, pulling the game out of the fire. Credit must be given to the boys.
So our next game is on the 21st of November, Augustine, where we'll be playing against Niger. That's away from home, and Niger is hosting Tanzania. That's today at 18 hours. So as it stands, we sit top of the table, and we'll see how the game goes today, Augustine. And Morocco, I think Morocco will have their first game. That's on the 21st, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
They also have their first game. That's on the 21st. So
and it's an interesting encounter, because they are coming to the Benjamin Mkapa Stadium, Tanzania. Will they fancy an afternoon kickoff down
That's
there
the issue.
when it's very, very hot in Tanzania? I think it's going to be one game that we need to keep our eye on. It's going to be intense. The Tanzanians will push Morocco punch for punch. They will
because the games, both games will be. I think both games might be crucial depending on the result that we are going to have today, Augustine. Because if Nigeria drops points, they will give us a tough game.
Yeah.
If Tanzania drops points, it will be an issue with Morocco.
You're looking at Tanzania, I think they will be lifted by the crowd. If you look at the way these World Cup qualifiers have been watching, there is poor turnout. I think the best was probably the ones that we had at Levi Manassa Stadium, and one was probably against Algeria. That was a very, very good turnout. But in these other games, the turnout has been very, very poor. And you do bank the Tanzanians to go to Benjamin Mkapa and fill that stadium. That atmosphere will be very, very intimidating for the Moroccans. Morocco would love to play a very, very direct game, because they love to get the ball into wide areas and put in crosses, because they've got El Naziri. He's very, very strong in there, probably the best in Africa currently. You remember a couple of years ago, there's a certain guy from Chelsea, DJ Drogba, very, very strong, very good in the air. I think that's probably the El Naziri type of center forward. Is very, very good in the box. He loves those physical challenges. He loves crosses coming into the box. Tanzania, I think they do back on the form of Simba and Yanga. That's their backbone of the national team. And coming up against Morocco, they will make it difficult for them in Tanzania. And I do hope they get something out of that game, so that Morocco start dropping points and we go to Niger and get 3 points. Niger against Tanzania, another interesting encounter.
Yeah.
Because this game is being played at a neutral venue. Niger are using Morocco as their home ground. So it gives Tanzania a very, very good base to try and go out there, express themselves, and attack this Niger team. Probably to end in a draw. I do fancy Tanzania getting something away in Niger, and then they come to try and make it difficult for Morocco. But Morocco, probably with the quality, players have played in big leagues. They have got players that have played in Turkey, where probably they are atmosphere is the most hostile in world football, and they've thrived in those countries. Probably they will come in Tanzania and get a result, but I would love to see Tanzania get one over Morocco,
so that we have an upper
so that
hand.
when we meet Morocco, we just stretch that lead.
Hopefully, it's an issue of just to win your games.
Yeah,
That's the issue. But anyway, that's Augustine's saying. You can also as well call and give us your opinion in terms of the game that will be played today and the game that we are going to play, that's against Niger on the 21st. So today Niger is hosting Tanzania and we are in the same group. And Morocco will play their first game, that's in the World Cup qualifying games, that's on the 21st of November this month. So Augustine, let's just take a look at some of the games that we played that's here in our local league. And I think the best would be, let's look at the bigger game that a lot of people were anticipating. It was supposed to take place, that's in the Hero Stadium, but unfortunately it was played at the Woodland Stadium. That's in Ghana, hosting Power Dynamos. I think this is the first local derby that hasn't been played in the Copper Belt.
Yeah, when it comes to the league, I think it is the first local derby to be played in Lusaka in a while. We did have a local derby in the APSA Cup 2014.
Oh yeah,
when Power Dynamos played Ghana at Ngoloma Stadium, which Ghana won by 2-0. Probably they were coming into this derby.
Let's pick this score. It might be Maite defending himself. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Fine, fine. Your name and where you are calling us from?
Is that from the city?
Yes, it's Camnet TV. You are through to Off the Pitch. Achani. Oh, okay. What's Malanda party game here yesterday?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
How to Tasha? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a concern with
The
the
goalkeeper
goalkeeping department and Francis Mons. I think we have to try and support the boy. I think it's difficult for him to step up to this big level. I think Avram Grant was very bold enough, like I said.
It's a risk, yeah. It's a risk. It's a gamble
to make that call to start with the young boy. I think Rollins Mulenga, he could have built on the confidence that he got from the game against Ivory Coast and let him be in goal and make it difficult for other goalkeepers. But I think competition, yes, is healthy, but is it helping the goalkeepers in the sense that they have to build confidence and momentum and the understanding with their backline? But Avram Grant, I'm sure he has taken note of what happened. He will find a way of trying to build Francis Mwansa, or probably bring in Rollins Mulenga to take over from where he left off.
We were discussing the Ghana Power Dynamos game before we had that caller, Augustine, and it's something that is something that we have to look at, where Ghana managed to beat where Power Dynamos managed to beat Ghana by 2-0 at the Woodland Stadium.
Yeah, I think it was the much anticipated local derby, and you expected fireworks in that game, but I felt Ghana flattered to deceive in the first 25 minutes. They look like a team that can go punch to punch with Power Dynamos. And I felt the biggest problem was that they didn't have an attacking outlet. They went with Lamek Afwaya in as the center forward, which was a very interesting choice. I didn't know what they wanted to achieve with Lamek playing as a center forward. They had David Kavala. Yes, he's in very poor form. He hasn't scored this season, and he will need to try and build up his confidence, especially with the players around him. They need to try and step up their game. Harrison Chisala was looking like he was going to be their bright spark in the game. I think there were a couple of interesting tactical changes we saw from the Ghana team going into the game. One was dropping Oliver Lumbia in central midfield and getting Stefan Chulu, their centre back, playing as a holding midfielder. Okay, that's Stefan Chulu's normal role, is a holding midfielder.
Let's just speak this call. Hello?
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you.
You are through to Off the Pitch. Your name and where you are calling us from?
I'm Jason, calling you from Camnet, Eastern Province.
Mr. J, how are you?
Very okay, Mr. Bratin, how are you?
Thank you very much. We miss you, eh?
Yes. We are meeting Mr. Siko Berea.
Ghana lost, so
Ghana lost.
can't come.
We knew and we expected that. Yes, I have two comments.
Okay.
You can go ahead, sir.
The first one is human worry on the Ghana Football Club.
Mm-hmm.
I hope by the time we reach January, something should be done. Otherwise, they will be relegated and the league will now be boring.
Yes, yes, very
Now
true.
we need Ghana to be in the league.
Yes.
Yes.
You
And
do-
my second comment on the national team is I was impressed with the Dominic Chanda.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his contribution was really marvelous yesterday.
Yeah.
But the one is still on the goalkeeping department. I think let the coach do something.
Yes.
Yes, thank you so much.
No, thank you very much.
Yeah, I think Mr. J. Tembo, he was our previous caller in the when
Yeah,
we talked about the
goalkeeping
I think
department.
We need to try and rectify that. It's not just healthy or comfortable to try and be chopping and changing. I'll give you a good example was Andre Onana at Manchester United. He has been conceding goals, but they haven't been changing him because they knew that he needs to build that chemistry with the defense. He needs to be assured with who has in front of him, and the defenders need to be confident with the goalkeeper. They'll build that with playing games. Rollins Muling, I think, did very well in the game against Ivory Coast. They could have continued him in that path and then let Francis be the understudy and develop from that role, and he could have been a goalkeeper. I think Kosafa was a very good platform for this young boy to be played at the Kosafa, but these are the crucial qualifiers, and they are very unforgiving. If we find a team which is just very lethal, we will get punished. And his worry about Ghana, yes, we were talking about Ghana. You could see that Ian Bakala is struggling to try and come up with a perfect lineup because he doesn't have the quality in the team. Let's just be honest with our assessment. Ghana have got less quality in the league. I think compared to the teams that are in the top 8, they do not stand a chance to be in the top 8 because the quality is not there. They do not have players that are very, very creative, players that are willing to take on oppositions and make things happen. It's only Harrison Chisala. If it's not clicking with Harrison Chisala, the entire team looks like they have got no ideas. They're running out of ideas. And you could see Patrick Gondi. What has happened to that boy? I think it's very frustrating to see. This is a boy that had a lot of talent, and we expected a lot of things coming from this boy, but he has really dropped in terms of his performances. And Paul Diamos in that game, they were not very, very superior. They didn't play that top game, but they were playing against a team which is struggling, and they knew that. They picked their moments very well. I think 2 goals from set plays, one which I felt Mangani Banda could have done better, especially with the second goal. He came and then he started going back, and then he was in no man's land.
And decisive.
Yes, very, very undecisive by Mangani Banda, costed this team. And even in the first goal, the one Godi Fringwenya scored from and Andy Boyd, I think it was set piece that was targeted for a particular area which Ghana didn't defend well.
Let's pick this call, guys. Hello? Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
This is Sami from Fidenza.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. This is to Camnet and yes.
Oh, you can go ahead with your contribution.
The goalkeeper.
Mm-hmm.
I think for my opinion, the way of is just like new rare national team.
Mm-hmm.
And football people game and other things. So the goalkeeper was there, and I think
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So what the coach is trying to see because I'm saying occupied so the goalkeeper was okay, and I think that about.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Augustine.
Yeah, I think he believes the goalkeeper was okay, and like I mentioned, I think the goalkeeper, the pressure is that we have given him this tough assignment, which was always going to be very crucial. Yes, he was given a run in the friendlies, and he was decent in the friendlies, but this was a crucial qualifier, and Lawrence Mulenga was back. We expected Lawrence to try and just continue where he left off. I think what needs to be done is that there needs to be a clear number one in that team that will make everyone understand their role and try to perfect them.
Okay, so another game, Augustine, let's just go quickly in terms of the games that made a lot of sparks over the weekend. We also saw that Red Arrows facing Green Buffaloes, Augustine, Battle of the Soldiers.
Yeah, the military derby. I think it's one game that it has always been tight in recent years. You do not see a lot of goals in this one. But I think building up to the game, Chisimbewe talked about how he wants his strikers to be barring the chances that are coming their way, and they did just that in this military derby. I felt GBFC were very, very poor, and the goalkeeper we were just talking about, Francis Mwansa, was on the bench for Green Buffaloes. He wasn't the one in goal. And you could see that even from the first minute, Red Arrows wanted to take the game to Green Buffaloes, and they capitalized. They scored through Alassane Diarra. We've got a caller on the line.
Let's speak. Hello? Hello?
Through to off the pitch.
Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Yes, our boss, Municha Bruno. Achana, yeah, our boss. Okay, good morning, our boss. Okay. Oh, okay.
Then a keeper, why are you using a keeper? Who crap waiter for this? Then you remember that some of the keeper. So at least the keeper, then I put it to go on. Then funny was kind of a power. Marisha of a power. And the very one of the
I think that's an interesting observation. I think yes, I think the defense is something which Abraham Grant, when he took over, he knew that he was going to rectify the defense. He had to make us better defensively. That's why he went and brought in Stopiransunzu in that team to try and bring leadership and maturity. I think the experience of Stopiransunzu is going to be a shouter. He will organize his defense. I think the other players will have to grow and improve, especially going into the AFCON. Our fullbacks will need to be very, very tight in terms of allowing spaces in wide areas. They need to try and do better in that regard. I think he talked about Rodrigo and Chepesh. I think Chepesh has improved. He has improved in the games that he's played under Avram Grant. You could see that he's growing to be this player. I think it's on the left side where we need to fine-tune now before the big tournament.
Was the Frank Msonda absence felt?
Yeah, I think what I said, I think in one of the other platforms is that Frank Msonda, he senses the danger and he knows when to cover Rodrigo. I think Dominic Chanda, yes, he did very well fighting his own battle, but he wasn't going to go across and do the job for Rodrigo if Rodrigo was caught napping like he did a couple of times. But when Frank is on the other side of defense, you could see that he does that very well. And Frank is one player who is confident enough to step into midfield with the ball. He progresses the ball very well, and you could see that we felt his absence in yesterday's game.
And this, I think the one issue, Augustine, that has to be maybe touched a bit is this issue of why starting a goalkeeper who doesn't play at his club?
Yeah, I think to be fair with Francis Mwansa, when he was at Trident, he struggled for game time. He didn't see a lot of game time. By the time that he has moved to give GBFC, he's played about half of the games. So it's they do share with the other goalkeeper. He does play at Green Buffaloes, but I think he lost his place in the game against Red Arrows. He just didn't start in that one, but he has been playing for Green Buffaloes. Unlike the time he was at Trident where he struggled for game time, but for GBFC you could see that he's getting game time.
So we were looking at the GBFC Red Arrows game, Augustine, where we managed to see the game producing 5 goals.
Yeah, I think it was good for TV and good for the spectators to see 5 goals. I think that's why people go to the stadium.
Yes,
you go to see goals. I think, and the goals that Red Arrows scored were very well worked goals. You look at the first goal, combination play. James Shamanga, I think he's fine wine. The way he combines with young teammates to try and release Capson Kamanga on the first goal. Then he cuts it back to Alassane Diarra, who finishes in style, and then the second goal was Edward Mwenya, brilliant ball into an area, and it was finished by Ricky Banda. And in that game we had 2 assists from the national team cup right back Benedict Chepeshi. He provided 2 assists for the 4 goals that Red Arrows scored. One was for James Chamanga, and the other one was for Ricky Banda. And Buffaloes got a consolation towards the very end to see the game finishing 4-1 in favor of Red Arrows.
We also had other games, Augustine. We saw Mtondo Stars being beaten by Zesco United. That's by 2 goals to 1. And we had Forest Rangers who were beaten by Nkwazi. That's 2 goals to 1 as well. And then we saw FC Moza drawing with Konkola Blades, and Kawe Warriors were beaten by Green Eagles. That's a 1-0. And other games, again, Augustine, my team Fulila Wanderers managed to beat Napsa Stars by 2 goals to 1. And Trident drew with Prison Leopards, and it's shocking. Prison Leopards, they had appointed
one man. They had appointed Chris Kaunda Takatiko.
Mr. Takatiko, within a week
he took charge of only 1 game, then he was out.
And then they got
then they had an interim, a caretaker for about 2-3 games. Now the news is that they have gotten Lamek Banda to be the head. I think they need to try and rectify Prison Leopards. They need to put their house in order, in the sense that their signings were not very eye-catching in the transfer window. You could see the last 2-3 seasons, they depended on individual brilliance to get them to where they were. Conrad Luchanga had scored 11 goals the previous season for Prison Leopards. We saw them finishing the top 8 brackets, and then there was Luwinda Mundia who got them the goals together with Isaac Ngoma, but they have lost Isaac. He's moved to Ngwazi. Luwinda Mundia, he's no longer the Luwinda Mundia he was last season. So they're really struggling in front of goal. I think David Obashi will need to step up. He did very well for Prison before moving to Nkana. He's come back. He needs to try and push this team in terms of goals. They do not have the... If you look at how Abad Kachinga organized Prison when they got closer to those continental slots, is that they played with a 3-5-2. They had 2 wing backs in Zephania Piri and Zakaria Chilongosh, who caused a lot of problems around the league for a lot of teams, but they do not have that. Zakaria Chilongosh has moved on to Napsa Stars. Zephania now is being played as a right back. It's no longer a back 3. It's a back 4, or probably you see Zephania on the right side of midfield, but it's not working. They need to try and find the chemistry, and I believe Lamek Banda, with the way we saw how Musa was playing, the way Lumwana Region started the season, there is hope that he will change that style of play. He loves to play energy, high tempo football. He loves energetic players that can run the entire 90 minutes, and it will be fascinating to see what it does at Prison Leopards. I think there is one coach, Wupe from Livingston. He was with Livingston Pirates. Then he was taken on by Lamek as an assistant. This is a coach that is rated very, very highly in Livingston. Now he's moved with Lamek Banda again to Prison Leopards. They were at Lumwana Regents. Now they've moved to Prison Leopards together as a pair. We hope to see them
different.
Yeah, to try and get this Prison Leopards team out of trouble. And one team that we people rarely talk about is Nkwazi Football Club. They are the informed side in the Zambian Super League. Nkwazi, a couple of weeks ago, they got beat 4-0 by Red Arrows at Sunset Stadium. And since that game, they haven't dropped any points. They've picked 12 maximum points. Nkwazi Football Club, they've been flying. I think they ended the FC Moses unbeaten run with Emmanuel Chawula scoring for the first time in a long time. I think high flying Nkwazi, I think you could see what also Adi Mutapa is doing with this vibrant, youthful team. Yes, they're not going to challenge for the title or probably continental places, but the fact that they are getting closer to qualifying for Absa Cup, it shows that there is a lot of consistency, a lot of hard work that has been put in this team, and if they manage to get over the line, qualify for Absa Cup, it will be a very, very big achievement, because I believe they will finish at least in the top 8 bracket come the end of the season.
So these are the standings as of week 12, as the game that have been played. Those are 12 games. We've got Red Arrows sitting on top of the table with 22 points, and we've got Zesco United sitting second, 22 points, Nkwazi 22 points, and FC Muza with sitting on fourth with 21 points, and Cairo Warriors with 21 points, Power Dynamos 20. So these are the teams that are just from 1, 2, 3 are being separated by the goal difference, Augustine. And the bottom of the table, we've got Kongola Blades, who is sitting at 15th with 11 points, and Prison Leopards sitting at 16th with 10 points. And we've got Ngana, who is sitting at 17th with 9 points, and Trident sitting at 18, that's with 7 points. But just a quick one, Augustine. This season we are seeing a lot of goals in our league.
Yeah, I think the most we had was probably week 6 when we had about 27 goals in the league. But I think the scoring rate started at a very, very low note. Our first 3 weekends of the league, it was 11 goals, 11 goals, and 9 goals. That was very, very poor. But they've stepped it up a little bit. Last weekend we had 24 goals scored in the league, which is a very, very huge achievement looking at where we started from. And it will be very, very difficult to dislodge Nkana from where they are sitting. Closer to the bottom.
I know you are watching. Hopefully we'll have you next week to defend yourself. But we've got some comments here on our Facebook page. We've got Ango Rapson himself saying, watching you guys, Augustine on Ngana, sure. And we've got Prophetic Isaiah Matthias, who is saying sure. We've got Lewis Kasoka, good morning, Chipolopolo from Ango Lewis, Mwinilunga, Northwestern. We've got Philemon Mulala, who is saying morning, good morning to you, to Philemon. And then we've got Justus Mtonga, who has been away of late, saying following. And we've got Mwemantu, who is watching as well. And Augustine, just a quick one as we wind up. We saw Chipata United writing something, and which was somehow devastating.
Yeah, I think it's very alarming at this stage of the league. The fact that they are having financial challenges, they do not know if they are going to travel for the away fixtures against Quattro Kalumbila. I think it's very frustrating to see a team that worked very hard to get to this level, then they do not have that financial muscle to see them through. I think they've got a lot of good young talent. Chipata United, I've watched them a couple of occasions. One of these players will break through the Premier League in the coming years, but what we need is that they need financial support. This is where now the corporate world will need to come into our football and support teams like Chipata United. I think it's something very wonderful to see Nchanga Rangers going to play there. The people of Chipata who have the chance to see these big teams visiting them, and you could see the DK is always packed to the rafters. I think it's good for our football. What we need is that they need financial support, and they need the corporate world to come in and finance their traveling and logistics arrangement for our games. This is a team that we really need to be closer to the first and second tier of Zambian football, for our football to grow in that part of the country, which will give people the excitement to go to the stadium every week. In Nchanga Rangers, a city of Lusaka, and so on and so forth.
Your closing remarks, Augustine.
A big thanks to the entire production team for making this show possible, and a big thanks to all our viewers out there for tuning in. We always appreciate your support, and congratulations to the Copper Bullets for beating Congo Brazzaville by 4 goals to 2. We look forward to the game in midweek against Niger. We hope that we'll carry the day and probably cement our position at the top of the table. And congratulations to Barbara Banda, Rachel Kundananji, and Grace Chanda for being nominated as the best female footballers in Africa. They are shortlisted from the 20, and we hope one of them will make it to the top 3. Thank you very much.
This is where we have to come to the end of the show, and the big ups to everyone who is tuned in to just be with us. We are nothing without you, our viewers, and on behalf of the whole entire production team, Elijah upstairs, and not forgetting our missing Uncle Rapson for participating via social media, and I'm sure we'll have him next week here with us on set. And on behalf of Augustine and myself, Amore, it's bye-bye. Stay glued to Camnet TV for amazing Katamanda is coming on your screens with a weekly gospel show. For now, it's bye-bye. Remember, stay glued to Camnet TV, for we are not just another channel.